So I just got in and I'm getting ready for the morning. I was kind of just looking at what I'm doing with kindergarten right now, which is these bubble hearts. There was an art teacher. He's fabulous, and I'll put his link down below. I'm looking at the wrong place, by the way. I gotta look at that. But I'm going to put his link down below, and he did this great bubble cup project with kindergarten. I thought, wow, that's awesome, because kindergartners always need practice with cutting with scissors. They love to cut. But bubble cuts are so new to them, and we've had some success, but they are definitely, he mentions in the video, they are practicing. Yeah, they're practicing all right. And one thing I think, I love this project, but one misstep I made is I should have used like an empty class, an empty day to do their backgrounds, because we were at a point yesterday where we could have done bubble cuts and glued stuff onto backgrounds and started to get it done. But I delayed on making the background because I really wanted the lesson to be about the bubble cuts. And so anyways, I'll incorporate that into my next year's plans. But this is what we have. So just some simple paper with 4 squares, right? Could have totally done this earlier, but I was thinking about like how I wanted to finish these. They have these little bubble hearts that they put on, and I really wanted there to be a connection to quilting and Alma Thomas, and this is really based on Jim Dine. But I think there's an awesome connection that you can make with quilting, and I'm going to try it with some pre-cut construction paper with little Surlocks poke holes, so that kids can play around with some sewing and maybe have some practice cards for them. So that's kind of my idea. I'm going to take a look at my roadmap for the day. So this is my planner, and I have a digital planner. I've got a paper planner, but this is been the one that's stuck with me since about November, especially when things start to get a little bit busier. So I feel like September, October, November are busy, but then suddenly you start to have work, like produced work that you can do stuff with. So you're kind of got on autopilot, and then once that month comes, like you're like, okay, what have I got to get done? When are the breaks? You're kind of organizing things. So anyways, I'm going to make some notes here. It's basically, I took very large drawing paper, I attach it with some clips. I have this rolling cart, so when I do my morning bus duty, or not my bus duty, but my hallway duty, I can sit out there and either work on something that I have on the cart, or check my notes and make sure I'm on target for the day. So kind of give you an idea of where we're at. First graders have been working on Cassie Stevens' project that I absolutely love, which is the stamping and painting project of hearts. And that is a Jim Dine connection. They actually did their first day of printing using warm colors and cool colors. What I've found that really works well with that project is actually showing them the video of Jim Dine, which again is by another educator. She's out of Florida, I think she is. She does some great kind of kid introductions to different artists and their themes. And that was what we really focused on, is what was the difference between themes and techniques. And what was great is students were able to really differentiate between the two, because, especially with first grade, you say, what's the theme? And they'll be like hearts. Or you'll say, what's the technique? And they'll say hearts. And you're like, no, that's not really a technique. So anyways, it was a great unpack. I basically show that. I show Cassie Stevens kind of what we're doing for the day. And I only show them the warm and cool. I don't get into the detail, and then really get them printing. And they have a blast doing it. And it's such an easy lesson, and I love that it's engaging. In second grade, we were finishing up our second day of glazing. So I've just recently produced kind of what I did for my second grade project this year, and I absolutely love it. I'm going to stick with it. The one thing in my building is they have a thing about, that second grade project, that first grade project. And I'll be honest with you, I tried to kind of switch that up whenever I came on board, because I was dealing with honestly an amazing art teacher that was in before me, and I wanted to kind of set my own space. So anyways, I did this second grade clay project, and what was fantastic is it's actually a 4-day project. The first day we do practicing with clay, doing the project, but as groups. And what was awesome is the kids really focus on the function of how we attach clay, how we slip and score. So they really gained an understanding of the technical portion of it. And then the second class that they come in, it's a 1-day project of them making their own individual one based on what they learned. And what I loved about that is I was not storing clay from one class to 5 to 7 days later, and sometimes more if there's a snow day, which there actually happened to be. So we come out with 6 projects for the first class, and then however many students you have for the second class, but you don't have anything you need to store, which is fantastic. And I really only had a few absences, but most of the kids at least did the group project, which allows me, if I had anybody who had just a complete and utter failure, which I really didn't, their friends were actually able to work with them at the table. Or if they did the group lesson but didn't do the individual one, they were able to pick one of their individual projects as one to clays. And I felt that was super smart, just really efficient on my part. And it's kind of one of those moments where you feel like you're the smartest person in the room, but not always. Anyways, they're glazing, and I actually do give 2 days for glazing because I find with little kids, they rush through the glazing because they only think they have 1 day, they've got to finish everything. But the truth is, I'd rather give them 2 days because they get the colors in. And then when they double check it the next week, they notice there's all sorts of little things missing, you know, the little dots, little spots. Plus, it also lets them give the final coat, the overglazing, which I've done before for 500 projects. And that is not a good use of my time. It's actually much better use of their time. Plus, it teaches them kind of how we get that glossy finish, and also, of course, how heat can change materials in the kiln. So that's what we're working on today. And so I'm going to be taking all the projects out, organizing them, making sure that I've got everybody checked in. But we did do that yesterday with second grade, and they're all done. Their stuff is ready to be fired. So now it's just a matter of getting in the schedule. And then I talked about my kinder monsters. I call them kinder monsters because they are little monsters, but they're good monsters. Anyways, we're going to pull out all their work, and I've got some notes here that we may need to do their black ink on their owls. I have their painted paper for hearts and trees. They need details, need to do ink on owls, yeah. So I did do this one project, and I've done it every year, which is an owl project. And I don't know why, but this year I have not been as pleased as I have been in the past with the outcome. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes it also, I'm pleasantly surprised because of a mistake. So anyways, I'm going to finish these up because sometimes I also find if I just give it one more little chunk, one more little push for detail, then I get some really amazing surprises. And it's, as an art teacher, it's known as what's called the ugly phase. Or as an artist, I should say, it's called the ugly phase. It's when you start out with something with this awesome idea, you go to execute it, and you're like, oh my God, what am I creating? And then you kind of step away from it and get back into it, and you realize you can just make it turn. And that's a lot of the times, I think, the same thing with little kid projects. There are times where, boy, you just need to abandon ship, but we're going to try and wrap that up so we have a little bit of kind of a center-based stage today. So that's kind of my idea. Anyways, that's kind of where we're at today. And this style may not fit you, but I hope that you like and subscribe to it. And I'm just going to kind of keep sharing what I'm doing. And it also lets me wrap my head around the day.